Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2022 Sokol High School Literary Awards Ceremony. My name is Justin Stevens. I'm the founder and president of O'Keefe Stevens Advisory. We're a local wealth management firm right here in beautiful downtown Rochester. And I also volunteer at the library. I started my work with the library in 2013, and I've served on the Rochester Public Library Board, the Friends and Foundation Board, and the Reynolds Library Board. This organization is full of amazing people who serve our community day in and day out, and it's thanks to their efforts that we're here today enjoying a great program like the Sokol Literary Award. So thank you to all of our library staff who are here today. My privilege to MC this year's Sokol Awards ceremony, and of course we're thrilled to be back in person after a 2-year pandemic hiatus. And I have a little history to share with you before we get into the program here. The Friends of the Rochester Public Library sponsored its first creative writing contest for high school students in 1958. And this competition has been a wonderful annual tradition ever since. In fact, many of the recipients throughout the years have gone on to become published novelists, poets, and playwrights. And today we have a talented group of writers, some of whom will surely accomplish similar acclaim as their writing careers evolve. So this event is all about our young writers, and for 2022 we have received a total of 37 entries, 23 poems, and 14 prose pieces. These entries represent some of the finest writing at 12 of our area's high schools across Monroe County, including 1 homeschool submission and 1 charter school submission. The School of the Arts had an impressive 16 submissions. On behalf of FFRPL, which I'm going to abbreviate, it's the Friends and Foundation of the Rochester Public Library, I'd like to thank all of the students for participating and their teachers and families who have supported them and encouraged them along the way to share their work with us today. The Friends and Foundation is able to award prizes to the winners and give thanks to the judges thanks to the kind generosity of Eli and Mildred Sokol. In 1985, they established an endowment for the contest through the Rochester Area Community Foundation. And part of the couple's longtime philanthropic interest was to invest in our county's young people. So through their vision and generosity, FFRPL is able to encourage young writers for generations to come. We'd also specifically like to thank the Rochester Area Community Foundation, who administers the Sokol Fund. Many other people have helped to make this event possible. Committee members, and I see this every year, we look forward to this event because we always have very interesting discussions when we review submissions in order to select the final entries that are sent on to our judges who determine the winners. So members of this year's Sokol Committee include the director of the Rochester Public Library and Monroe County Library System, Patty Utaro, our Sokol Committee Chair, who's FFRPL board member and a senior project director for Maximus Federal Services, Andy Iserson, a former FFRPL board member and retired English journalism teacher, Mary Hevron Smith, the Central Library Circulation and Information Center Supervisor, Chad Cunningham, the Central Library Patron Services Manager, Cynthia Dana, FFRPL Treasurer and Boiling Code Attorney, David Ho, and Monroe County Library System Board Member and Digital Strategist and Content Writer for Nonprofits, Emily Hesney Lynch, and the FFRPL of Marketing and Program Director, Susan Chekow Lusignan. The committee members read all of the entries and then selected a handful of finalists whose entries were passed along to the judges to determine the 3 winners in each category. Our prose judge this year was Kristin Gentry, the Associate Professor of English and Creative Writing at SUNY Geneseo. Kristin received her MFA from Indiana University and has been a member of the Geneseo faculty since 2007. She often teaches courses in advanced fiction, creative nonfiction, reading as a writer, foundations of creative writing, and hip-hop and contemporary American literature. Our poetry judge was Charles Cote, Charlie, psychotherapist, poetry instructor at Writers and Books, author of Flying for the Window, published by Finishing Line Press, and I Play His Red Guitar, published by Tiger Bark Press. And although we didn't have any performance pieces submitted this year, we had Joshua Pettinger, owner and operator of the Wicked Squid Recording Studios, on deck as the 2022 performance judge. In addition to our committee members and judges, we'd also like to acknowledge and thank Mary Jo Orzik, who is the scholarly communications librarian at the College of Brockport Drake Memorial Library. Since 2015, Drake Memorial Library and the College at Brockport have partnered with FFRPL to host the winning submissions on an online open access repository of scholarly and creative works by notable members in our community. You can visit ffrpl.org for the link to the online database of students' winning work, and it's moved to a new platform if you visited before, so check it out. Our poetry judge, Charlie Cote, reviewed all finalists and determined the winners for our poetry contest, and Charlie will introduce each poetry winner and have the students up to the stage to read an excerpt from their winning entries. So, Charlie, please join me. Thank you.
This is a highlight for me every year to read these poems, and it's always so difficult to select winners. I'm just really excited about the quality of writing that we have right here in Rochester. Rochester is an amazing place for the arts, and the literary arts are no exception, and I'm really proud to be part of this, so thank you. This year's poetry entries were fantastic. I read the 3 winning poems to my wife, who's also a poet, who's here today, and she said, these are the best poems I've read from all the years that you've been doing this, and I've probably been doing this for 6 years now, I think, and just fantastic work. Our first place winner is Joyce Shee. She wrote a poem called From Tissue Paper Magnolias. She's in 12th grade at Pittsford Mendon High School. Joyce is a senior at Pittsford Mendon High School. When not scribbling words on paper, she can be found fencing, playing the piano, and searching for magic in everything around her. I think writing poetry is a little bit like fencing, so maybe that's why she's so talented. And this was a shock to me, but she won first place last year as well. Now, the thing you need to know is when I judge these poems, I do not know who I'm reading. Their names are not on the poems. So fantastic that she won this 2 years in a row. So I would like to invite Joyce to please come up to the podium to read an excerpt from her poem.
From Tissue Paper Magnolias. 1. We wander the streets of Ching'an District, and you ask me to tell you a story. From blossoming Yulan magnolias grow memories I've never lived. A boy plucking petals in the schoolyard, a girl peeling a persimmon from its navel, a woman with a heart as slippery as moonbeams. You tell me to stop thinking about a life that isn't mine. 2. My father grew up on a street nestled between alleyways. Cigarette stubs jut from cracks in stone, facing the old man who sells popsicles and paper kites in the summertime. Statues clutter the entrance, overgrown with ivy and shaded by blankets hung out to dry. I've never seen him love a place as he loves the crumbling courtyard of his first home. A first love vibrating with the chatter of swollen cicadas and sweet adolescent nostalgia. The last time we visited, The walls were marked for demolition, and flowers littered the cobblestones, trampled by the gentle padding of stray cats. 3. The first time my grandmother forgot my name, I held her hands and cried. I shaped flowers from red tissue paper and thought about immortality, atrophy remedied by life eternal. Her fingertips were translucent, and her words slipped from breath to air like the spinning of silk. She asked about her old home near the city temple. I told her it was blooming at this time of year, then prayed to the gods for forgiveness. 4. The next time, my grandmother forgot everything. She kept my flowers unchanging by the bed and asked me about the woman who lives on the moon. I told her she was waiting for the stars to bloom. 5. We stumble into an alley strewn with lanterns overhead. I tell you how the story ends. To close Lunar New Year, we light lanterns and let them burn. I carve magnolias into mine and watch them float away.
Stay here, stay here. So I have a few prepared remarks, and you'll have a copy of this. So obviously, congratulations on your Sokol Award. Your poem floats in memory with precise imagery that works both as lamp and mirror, illuminating and reflecting an imagined world that I can inhabit. I'm intrigued by the dramatic address to a mysterious other, the one who tells the speaker to stop imagining other lives. To my way of thinking, the speaker's sympathetic identification is the task of every poet and storyteller. The repetition of various blooms is pleasing to read. I appreciate your sophistication with language and syntax. It welcomes me into the speaker's imagined and lived experience in a way that carves those stories on my heart. So, beautiful work, Joyce.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of Friends and Family Foundation, it is my privilege to present you with your cash prize, $1 million, as well as a personalized engraved plaque in celebration of your first place Sokol Award. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
When you publish your first book, I hope you will come back and we can do a reading, and that's true for the next two poets as well. Second place poem is titled 11 Reasons Why This Is Our Home. Alani, is it Alani or Eleni? Ilani. Hold on, come on up, Alani. Alani is a junior at the School of Arts. In addition to writing, she loves rollerblading and gardening. She plans to attend a 4-year university to major in creative writing. You're welcome.
11 Reasons Why This Is Our Home. Here, we all know the art of hanging. Over porch railings, out of second-story windows, calling to each other like seagulls across the vast sea. Let me holla at you for a second. How's them babies? Here we peek out of closed blinds like the bars of our prison cell. Here we put big tires on tiny cars so we remember how it feels to sit on a throne. Here we pile into back seats like cargo in the belly of a ship. Here, children suck on ice cubes on hot summer days, greasy scalps sizzling in the heat. Here, hair beads smacking against a little girl's back sounds like a standing ovation as she runs into her daddy's arms. Here, we bury our dreams deeper than the cracks in our sidewalks. Here, our brothers and sisters sleep on cold park benches, wrapping themselves in the sorrows of newspaper headlines. Here, saggy pants men waddle into corner stores to drown their demons. Here, we carry more guns than children, then point them in the wrong direction. Here, we leave teddy bears for the dead, then look to the sky, hands up, as if we're holding a boom box, and the whole block sings along.
Stay here. Such a powerful poem.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations on your Sokol Award.
Thank you.
This is a poem of witness. It testifies and it implicates. It has a cinematic quality that sets us down in the middle of so much action. It speaks out with authentic grit and visceral imagery from a particular place under unbearable pressure, speaks out about what it means to be alive and survive against all odds, so vividly so that the reader lives there too with all that threat and degradation. The repeated assertion of the present moment, the here and here and here, affirms the power of poetry to bring it all home, and we feel it. Congratulations on your award, a wonderful poem. Here is your cash award, $500,000 for you, and a personalized engraved plaque, and spend it wisely.
Thank you.
All right. Is it Aries or Aries? Aries, okay, beautiful. The poem that Aries wrote is called She Plays with Golden Fire. Aries champion. Aries is a senior creative writer, major at School of the Arts. They love doing creative work, including writing and drawing. And I will say that Aries took on an amazing challenge, and I'll say something about that, but come on up and read this beautiful poem.
She plays with golden fire. She plays with golden fire, romping and leaping without a care in the world. The hem of her dress is set alight by playful lies, promises kept just to be forgotten. The flames shimmer like the sequins on her bag, then fades away to nothing but ash. Flecks of gray fly like the ash of a phoenix made of flaxen fire. Feathers gone missing like the memories in her bag. She swears their eyes are watching from the world above her, leaving her forgotten, like the promises with her lies. As the fire dies, she lies on a shimmering bed of golden ash, her slumbers broken by the one she had forgotten, watching as the remnants of fire illuminates what is now her world, yet the memories are still absent from her bag. The stars in the sky like sequins on her bag, twinkling and sparkling like their lies. She tries to reach out for their world, yet all she can grab is flaxen ash. Spreading farther from the source of the fire, it is now too forgotten. Her eyes close slowly as all is forgotten once more, her thoughts drifting from her empty bag to the flaxen fire, left now as an empty source of lies. She drops the ash, feeling it falter as she reaches for the world. She freezes as the world closes in on her form, now forgotten, covering her in ash and pulling her free from her bag. She sits and takes it like the lies that came from the roaring fire. Once her eyes are open, she collects her bag of lies from the fire and treks on in a world left forgotten, covered in flaxen ash.
Lainey, I have your letter, so don't forget that. You heard some of the repetitions in this poem, and there's a formal elegance to your poem, Aries. A sestina for heaven's sakes. I don't know if you realize how difficult a sestina is to write. It's a pretty remarkable accomplishment. You handle such a difficult artistic challenge with grace and style. Nothing seems forced. The poem creates a dreamlike effect that is delightful, and you shape it towards such a compelling and ironic transformation. Your phoenix descends into the ashes, and oh, how that rings true. Your poem dazzles us with fire and brings us inevitably to a world of ash, and while we lament that incineration, our shimmering bag of lies laid bare, we find a way to sift through the remnants and try again. Amazing poem.
Thank you.
Really amazing. Your prize is $250,000 plus a lifetime membership to the public library.
Thank you.
Congrats. As I said, it's always a pleasure to be part of this, the Sokol High School Literary Awards, and I'm just so impressed. I hope you are too, with the quality of writing that you're hearing. And not only just the writing, but just the depth of wisdom and insight and maturity about the human experience. It's profound. It's amazing. I'm confident that the students here today will continue to produce good work throughout their lives, and let's have one more round of applause for them.
Here, I'll give you your stuff back. Thanks. Thank you, Charlie. Our prose judge, Kristin Gentry, reviewed all finalists and determined the winners. However, Professor Gentry has class at this time and could not attend, but she did ask me to convey her heartfelt congratulations and wanted me to remind everyone to keep on writing. So Professor Gentry submitted her comments to the students in advance, and she asked me to read them on her behalf. So I will do similar to what Charlie did, but I'm going to read some remarks. Our first place entry is from Gracie Peltz, School of the Arts, 9th grader. She loves to be outside hiking with her dog, as well as running for the school cross-country and track teams. She reads as much as she can and is a very beginning knitter. Gracie Peltz, will you come up and share woven stories with us? Thank you.
Do I just start?
Please.
Okay, sorry. In all the scarves that my grandmother has made, there is a story. Stories flow from her fingers like water, flow from her hair like sunshine, flow from her mouth like song. The scarves that my grandmother knits are beautiful and full of color. Red from the bloodiest heart, blue from the most vibrant flowers, yellows that seem straight from the sun. They mesh together into a collection of beauty that takes your breath away and at the same time gives all the oxygen needed. These scarves, when worn, tell the wearer of fantastic adventures, of love, of loss, of friendship, and of life. The scarves, made with the softest wool, wrap the wearer in warmth, with the stories that creep silently into their ears and crawl into their memories. On my 10th birthday, I was given my scarf woven with strands of silver and gold from the trees in our backyard, the ones that I sit under to think and reflect. The mix of deep blue and parrot green tells others about my secrets, the ones that I didn't even realize that I have. My mother's scarf is purple and red. Orchids and cherries wind through my memories like filtered sunshine. My father's is black, so deep that it goes on forever, with slashes of marigolds that look like they might be swallowed up if you stare for too long. The scarves tell my family stories. We put them on, and the words wriggle up from the woven strands of memory and out into the world. The cherries tell of parents lost too early. The orchids tell of the pain receding. The darkest and deepest black show life with no true family, and the orange there hints at family is who you choose. The scarves tell your most sacred secrets to the world, but still keep them close to your heart. There is bravery in letting others wear your scarf. The secrets will dig themselves out of their hiding place in the wool and go into your head and heart. They will share themselves with the wearer. They will make a nest in that person's heart and will not leave. The scarf is forever. There's bravery in wearing someone else's scarf.
The scarf is woven from love and loss. The pain is shared between the wearer and the maker, the giver and the receiver. The scarf only comes to you when you have secrets, though. It could come at 10, 20, or 30 years old. Everybody has secrets. These scarves help us to acknowledge that. Without your scarf, you are safe. But with your scarf, you are protected. No one knows how my grandmother makes such wonderful stories. No one knows how she knows all our secrets. No one knows how she weaves them together. No one knows except for me. I am the one who knows. I know that you have to take filtered sunlight from the afternoon sun, that you must know the person inside and out before their scarf appears, that the making of the scarf takes only minutes, even though the secrets last for lifetimes. Those memories are the hardest to grab. They are like spiderwebs, sticky and icky to touch. You have to reach out and pluck, not grab, not pull, not extract, not jerk, not yank, not tug, not twist, and certainly never snatch, she tells me. The memories from the mind. This is a slow process, she tells me. The winding of this memory thread into wool, the weaving of the wool into a scarf, the giving of the scarf to the receiver, that I have not learned yet. When to start it and when to give it has not yet been taught. This is a slow process, she tells me. But I am willing to wait. One day the stories will flow from my fingers like water, flow from my hair like sunshine, flow from my mouth like song. The scarves will be my gift to people, a relief from the burden of carrying their secrets around alone.
Thank you, Gracie. That was very powerful. Before I present you with your $1 Million award, this is what Professor Kristin Gentry had to say about your story. Woven Stories is simply a lovely story. The language used to describe the scarves that the first-person narrator's grandmother knits for those she loves, those whose secrets she knows, wraps readers in a world just as mesmerizing, beautiful, and comforting as the scarves that protect the owners. The beauty of the scarves lies in the stories woven into the garments. The narrator explains these scarves, when worn, tell the wearer fantastic adventures of love, of loss, of friendship, and of life. The scarves made with the softest wool wrap the wearer in warmth with the stories that creep silently into their ears and crawl into their memories. These stories include secrets that are like spider webs, sticky and icky to touch. The grandmother explains that you have to reach out and pluck, not grab, not pull, not extract, not jerk, not yank, not tug, not twist, and certainly never snatch. These delicate memories to make the scarf. While the secrets may be dark and painful, their presence in the scarf creates the mix of rich colors that make the garment so exquisite. The scarves symbolize the beauty in our trauma. They illustrate the idea that wearing our scars like a prized possession can help us reveal ourselves to others and to gain connection as a result. Deeper connection is gained in the story as the narrator tells of people donning others' scarves and experiencing that person's secrets, making a nest in their heart. This connection, of course, begins with the grandmother, the knitter who can only make a scarf once she becomes aware of the future owner's secrets. This intimate knowledge baffles the narrator apprenticing under their grandmother. They do not know how her grandmother knows, but want to learn and declare that they are willing to wait. The narrator and readers understand that gaining this knowledge is going to take time, patience, an attentive eye, and keen listening ears. Seeing someone down to their core takes the willingness to dig beneath the surface, acknowledge their pain, and create the connection and reassurance that allows that person to shine the beauty of the strength and wisdom they have earned from that pain out into the world to others. Woven Stories shares this thematic message about empathy and compassion in a time when the world most urgently needs it. Gracie, on behalf of the Friends and Foundation of the Rochester Public Library, it's my privilege to present you with this prize, as well as the personalized engraved plaque in celebration of your first place Sokol Award. Congratulations. Thank you. All right. Second place is Anna Paku, a 12th grader at Pittsford Sutherland High School. Anna is a senior. She enjoys cheerleading and playing percussion in her school's wind ensemble and is currently relishing the challenge of her creative writing course. She's considering studying political science next year in college. And Anna, would you please come up to the podium to read an excerpt of your story, Psyche?
Psyche. Someone once told me that each time we remember something, our memory is not of the event itself. Rather, we only remember the prior reimagining. Then, each time we revisit that memory, it becomes less of a lens for us and more of a mirror, a sort of rebuilding. Like Theseus's ship, but why should we only replace the rotting planks? What if we replace the planks that squeak as we walk over them, or the planks stained by alcohol, or the planks with nicks in the wood from when we threw ourselves to the floor and breathed bloody air into each other's mouths? Is it still Theseus's ship if we changed it simply because we wanted to? I'm trying to picture a few days ago when you told me you couldn't do this anymore. Funny. You said it in the corner of the cafe we always sat in when ordering breakfast. You used to say such pretty things in that booth, preaching in the morning while the light sucked shadows from your skin. Poetry and music must be close for either to be really well done. We must imagine Sisyphus not happy but persistent. You could be so smart if you'd only speak a little more. That would make me laugh, and then I couldn't say anything at all. Your face smudges now. You were mad at first, and then I thought you might be afraid, and then I saw a tiredness that melted you into your seat. I wished you would rage. I wished you would color brilliantly, your teeth flashing, your eyes burning bottomless. When you got angry, your vision narrowed like a bull's. I would wave my red flag mouth and watch you become blind to everything but me, and that felt good. I confess, I am no great craftsman. I cannot make these fragments more than they are. But let me take Theseus's ship up in my hand. Let me brush my fingers over the wave-battered beams and feel those familiar dips before they are sanded down. 3 nights, 3 pieces. That can be enough. The first night is battered, splintered through. In every way I can picture it, it comes down to the same thing. You wait outside the bar to catch me at the bottleneck. We are healthily drunk, and our words are meaningless, acrid, spewing into the dark. You reach for your hair and pull as your inhibition gives like rotten wood. At times like this, I wonder, do you hate me? When you press your shaking hands into my skin, whispering curses against my lips, I know the answer does not matter. We bruise each other. We tug at fraying strings. We say, I will meet you at your worst. You leave your shirt at my apartment, and I use it to wipe my floors clean of the mud you track in. The second night fractures in the middle. As you sleep, you curl to the left side, shielding your chest with the pledge of a palm. I watch you rise and fall and rise and rock. There. I want to pick out your thoughts from the quiet of your face, the curve of your cheek, the crease of your brow. I coax them into meaning. Despite what I may surmise, you are not much more than your body. I know that well. I have seen a great deal of you, pushed up against my bathroom sink, with one eye always on the mirror. Something in my form caves as I watch you sleep, dying flowers in a gale. In quiet moments, I cannot help being weak. I have opened myself and become raw where I should have been rough. My fingers twitch out, trying to leave a touch that is soft. Starting, you roll over slightly, eyelids cracked open. You are not fully awake, but you gather impressions of the room, of me, bending over you, one hand outstretched. At times like this, I wonder, do you see me? When you shift back into place, disappearing into yourself again, my hand drops. I feel shame. I have done something awful, or something awful has happened, and I have not been able to stop it.
Thank you, Anna. That was very powerful, and this is what Professor Gentry had to say about your story. The heartbroken first-person narrator and Psyche feel stuck, lamenting to their former partner over their lost relationship. They relive its demise in a memory loop, questioning the truth of their recollection, warped by frequent journeys over the same worn terrain of fights and making up. The narrator's reflection is rich with stunning figurative language that allows readers to glimpse a sense of the allure that draws them back to this ultimately doomed, toxic relationship with a narcissistic partner. They recall the pretty things their partner would say sitting in a cafe, preaching in the morning while the light sucked shadows from their skin. The narrator remembers watching their partner sleep, curled to the left side, shielding their chest with the pledge of a palm. Even the partner's anger sparks attraction as the narrator expresses their desire for them to rage. I wish you would color brilliantly, your teeth flashing, your eyes burning bottomless. When you got angry, your vision narrowed like a bull's. I would wave my red flag mouth and watch you become blind to everything but me, and that felt good. They compare themselves to dying flowers in a gale as they recall being weakened by witnessing their partner in the silent vulnerability of sleep. They confess, I have opened myself and become raw where I should have been rough. The narrator's questions to the ex throughout the story seem to illustrate not only their wrestling with memory and whether their recollection of the flaws that led to the relationship's end are true accounts, but the questions also seem to be propositions and indications of their hope that the broken pieces of their relationship can be replaced to create a new, healthy, and lasting relationship. This possibility, like the question of the ship of Theseus, referenced in the narrator's initial pondering about memory, offers no definitive answer. And in that absence of absolutes, the narrator continues to imagine a different, happy future and asks the ex to imagine along with them. However, in this future, the narrator describes themselves as still foolish, and this speculative future is followed by the narrator's question, do you listen to me? This suggests that what the narrator wants to forget cannot be forgotten. What they want to begin anew still holds traces of what had been rotting. The story is a beautifully written account of love, loss, regret, and the potentially fatiguing, damaging power of relentless hope. On behalf of the Friends and Foundation of the Rochester Public Library, it's my privilege to present you with your award. Congratulations.
Thank you.
These are really good. All right. Next up, we have Audrey Cleveland, a 10th grader who is homeschooled. Audrey is a sophomore in Fairport. When she's not writing or daydreaming, she enjoys reading fantasy novels, researching ancient civilizations, and watching romantic comedies. Audrey, would you please come up to the podium to share an excerpt of Eduardo's Mercedes?
Eduardo's Mercedes. The engine revved and the whole structure of the vehicle began to hum good-naturedly like a well-tuned guitar. And then I was back. My mother sang the notes of a song I no longer remembered the words to, but the simple resonating of the tune flooded my ears like the crashing of the sea on the warm sandy beaches of home. The flimsy screen door slammed shut, and my father came out, deep mahogany eyes like the bark of maple trees and holding a newly polished tawny instrument. I asked him why he polished Abuelo's guitar at all when he knew he could never buff out the cigar burn great Uncle Alberto left or fix the dent when the guitar fell out of the case. He said, "Una guitarra is like an automobile. You must keep her shiny and looking like she came out of the shop esta mañana." His callous fingers danced across the strings like the murals of angels in the church I imagined played theirs in heaven. He closed his eyes and drifted a little to the music. I closed mine too and let myself fall into the quiet symphonies of strings. When I opened them, the sun glared in my face, and when I shielded it with my hand, he seemed to glow brighter, happy that I was no longer lost in my memories. I slammed the hood of the 1961 Mercedes-Benz 190 SL shut, pulled off my oil-stained gloves, and wiped the dribbling sweat off my wrinkled brow. As I walked past the 1969 280 SE 3.5 Cabriolet, I dragged my fingers across the glossy surface of the side door, and suddenly I was opening it for a young woman wearing neon orange bell-bottoms and a form-fitting emerald tunic that barely hit her stomach. She flung a tuft of her feathered crow-black hair over her shoulder and flashed a white-toothed grin as she flounced towards me. I sighed. Angelina Fernandez. When she stepped in front of me, she slyly planted a kiss on my cheek. I stood there for a minute, having forgotten everything I knew, but then she laughed and slid into the shotgun side and turned up the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun in Spanish. I smiled and listened to the soft strumming of the guitar before flicking on the engine. I pecked a kiss on Angelina's cheek and peeled out of the parking lot, her normally quiet voice whooping in delight as we tore down the road.
Thank you, Audrey. That was very powerful, and this is what Professor Gentry had to say about your story. Eduardo, the first-person narrator in Eduardo's Mercedes, is taken back in time on a journey of memories with loved ones, triggered by work on his collection of vintage cars. The first stop in Eduardo's memory is a moment with his grandfather. Figurative language is used to link the present to the past, as Cleveland writes. The engine revved, and the whole structure of the vehicle began to hum good-naturedly like a well-tuned guitar. In Eduardo's memory, his grandfather holds a newly polished tawny instrument and explains, "Una guitarra is like an automobile, hijo. You must keep her shiny and looking like she came out of the shop esta mañana." This connection between past and present continues via concrete imagery. Eduardo's fingers dragging across the glossy surface of the side door of a 1969 280 SE 3.5 Cabriolet leads to a memory of opening the door for his wife, Angelina. Physical description of Angelina, who flings a tuft of her feathered, crow-black hair over her shoulder, and the reference to the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun, which the two listen to as they ride, help solidify the time period. When this flashback is interrupted by a soft whisper and readers see Angelina through Eduardo's eyes with her hair streaked gray and light wrinkles on her face, we now understand that he and Angelina are decades away from those young lovers in 1969. This is solidified in Eduardo's memory of his son, now living in Britain, attending business school. Eduardo is saddened by the passage of time, the distance between him and the loved ones in his cherished memories. But Angelina, who unlike Eduardo's grandfather, father, and son, is still near. She urges him to take a ride in the Mercedes, and as they do, Eduardo realizes that there are still miles of road left untraveled. Eduardo's Mercedes uses skillful crafting to remind readers of the gift of the present moment. On behalf of the Friends and Foundation of the Rochester Public Library, it's my privilege to present you with your Sokol Award, Audrey. Congratulations. great job to everyone who participated, and especially to our winners today. And thank you to the Sokol family for making it all possible. FFRPL would also like to extend a special note of appreciation to longtime committee members Marcia Birkin, Kate Parsons, and Patrice Mitchell. We know that Marcia Birkin and Kate Parsons couldn't be here today, but Patrice, would you mind coming up to the podium? We'd like to give you a thank you gift in recognition for your many years of service to the Sokol Awards. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you all for participating today. Thank you again to Library Director Patty Utaro and our Sokol committee members, including their chair, Andy Iserson, the judges, FFRPL staff, and of course, the many talented students who submitted work, and most notably the winners who we're recognizing here today. FFRPL is proud to encourage our students in all areas of literacy, and we'd encourage you to look for information on next year's contest this coming fall. Please enjoy our reception and stick around for some pictures. Thank you.